The Darkness at Thunder Mountain, Chapter 1. It was a warm summer night. The stars were in full array, lighting up the black sky. They looked so majestic, it was hard to imagine there wasn't someone out there, something out there bigger than just a couple of kids by a fire pit. I just know there have to be aliens, Lacey said as she stared into the heavens. Whatever, Lacey, you're always dreaming up crazy ideas, Weston exclaimed without big brother tone. But wouldn't it be so amazing, Wes? Lacey's imagination continued to conjure up ideas of planet life far away. Suddenly there was a rustling in the brush at the edge of the hill. Weston jumped. Dang you, Lacey, stop trying to scare me. That wasn't me, Wes. Lacey shivered. They both froze, staring straight at the brush, squinting to see what might be hidden between the twigs and branches of the big sagebrush. Mom and Dad had been gone for at least 30 minutes, promising for a quick drive into town for supplies, and left Weston in charge of Lacey's safety. The brush moved again, and this time Weston stood straight up and started hollering like a defensive good big brother should. Hey you! Shoo! Get out of here! The rustling stopped. Holy crap, Lacey! I'd better go get my army knife. Well, you aren't leaving me out here alone, Lacey shrieked as they both ran at full speed toward the cabin. They slammed the door behind them, both out of breath as they stared at each other in wonderment. What the crap was that? Asked Weston. I don't know, but Mom and Dad better get back quick. I mean, what if it is an alien? Lacey exclaimed. Shut up! I told you to stop saying crap, Lacey. I mean it. Weston balled up his fist and raised it up in front of Lacey's face. He was obviously more scared than Lacey, which was understandable. After all, he was her only defense. He was left in charge, and at the young age of 11, he was barely a real scout. He hadn't learned how to stab anything. They don't teach that kind of thing in scouts anyhow. Weston ran to the closest window in the bathroom and peered out at a small dying fire at the sagebrush that had caused so much of an uproar. It was all quiet now. Nothing was out of the ordinary. It was just really, really dark. The only sounds were the labored breathing coming from the two frightened siblings. As Lacey stood next to Weston at the window, she continued to stare into the dark black sky. The stars covered every square inch of the Milky Way. The universe seemed endless. Suddenly Lacey screamed, Oh my gosh, oh my gosh! What? Stop that, Weston hollered back. Didn't you see that? Oh my gosh, Lacey exclaimed. Lacey began to explain the streak of bright yellow, orange, and white light that shot across the sky. That's called a shooting star, Weston replied in annoyance. It wasn't, Wes, I promise. I know what those look like. This was different. Suddenly, the sagebrush began to rustle violently. The nearly dissipated fire burst into a full flame. There was no explanation. No animal emerged, and the air was calm without even a breeze. No way, Lacey said. They both pressed their faces hard up against the warm window to stare hard into the night. As quickly as the sagebrush began its crazy dance, it was completely still and the fire was gone as if no flame had ever existed. Lacey began to cry. When are Mom and Dad coming back? They should be here any minute. Don't worry. Weston put his arm around Lacey's shoulder to comfort her and let his shirt soak up her wet tears. By now, it had been nearly an hour since Mom and Dad had left to drive down the mountain. It was only 3 miles down into town, and the grocery store was tiny. They couldn't have had more than a dozen things to choose from. What could be taking so long? Suddenly, every light in the cabin went out.